day everyone, I am Krisha Vargas and today I will present to you my topic, the Philippine Wildlife Resources Conservation and Protection Act or RA 9147. What is RA 9147? It is known as the Wildlife Resources Conservation and Protection Act. It is an act providing for the conservation and protection of wildlife resources and their habitats, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Declaration of Policy. It shall be the policy of the state to conserve the country's wildlife resources and their habitats for sustainability. This act shall have the following objectives. First is to conserve and protect wildlife species and their habitats to promote ecological balance and enhance biological diversity. Next is to regulate the collection and trade of wildlife. To pursue, with due regard to the national interest, the Philippine commitment to international conventions, protection of wildlife and their habitats, and last, to initiate or support scientific studies on the conservation of biological diversity. Scope of application. The provision of this act shall be enforceable for all wildlife species found in all areas of the country, including protected areas under RA number 7586, otherwise known as the National Integrated Protected Area System or NIPAS Act, and critical habitats. This act shall also apply to exotic species which are subject to trade, are cultured, maintained and or bred in captivity or propagated in the country. Jurisdiction. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR shall have jurisdiction over all terrestrial plant and animal species, all turtles and tortoise and wetland species, including but not limited to crocodiles, water birds, and all amphibians and dugong. The Department of Agriculture or DA shall have jurisdiction over all declared aquatic critical habitats, all aquatic resources including but not limited to all species, all fishes, aquatic plants, invertebrates, and all marine mammals except dugong. In the province of Palawan, jurisdiction herein conferred is vested to the Palawan Council for Sustainable Development pursuant to RA number 7611. Bioprospecting. It means the research, collection, and utilization of biological and genetic resources for purposes of applying the knowledge derived therefrom solely for commercial purposes. This also defines as a systematic and organized search for useful products. This includes plants, microorganisms, animals, and etc. that can be developed further for commercialization and overall benefits of the society. Byproduct or derivatives. It means any part taken or substance extracted from wildlife in raw or in processed form. This includes stuffed animals and herbarium specimens. Examples of these are the manure from a feedlot operation, sawdust at a sawmill, salt from a desalination plant, and straw from a grain harvesting operation. Captive breeding or culture or propagation means the process of producing individuals under controlled conditions or with human interventions. It also defined collaborative drug therapy management and radiation therapy simulation system. Collection or collecting means the act of gathering or harvesting wildlife, its byproducts or derivatives. Conservation means preservation and sustainable utilization or wildlife and or maintenance, restoration and enhancement of the habitat. Critically endangered species refers to a species or subspecies that is facing extremely high risk of extinction in the wild in the immediate future. Examples of these are black rhino, cross river gorilla, Bornean orangutan, and so on. Economically important species means species or subspecies which have actual or potential value in trade or utilization for commercial purpose. Examples of these are ficus, India, Verola, and Vochicia. Each have at least 6 species in the study area. Endangered species refers to species or subspecies that is not critically endangered but whose survival in the wild is unlikely if the causal factors continue operating. Examples of these are the blue whale, whooping cranes, and etc. Endemic species means species or subspecies which is naturally occurring and found only within specific areas in the country. Examples of these are the Philippine warty pig and Philippine tarsier. Exotic species means species or subspecies which do not naturally occur in the country. Cromolena odorata, Lantana camara, and Micania micranta are examples. Habitat means a place or environment where a species or subspecies naturally occur or has naturally established its population. Indigenous wildlife means species or subspecies of wildlife naturally occurring or has naturally established population in the country or region. Threatened species. It is a general term to denote species or subspecies considered as critically endangered, vulnerable, or other accepted categories of wildlife whose population is at risk of extinction. Trade means the act of engaging in the exchange, exportation, or importation, purchase, or sale of wildlife, their derivatives or byproducts, locally or internationally. Wildlife means the wild forms and varieties of flora and fauna in all developmental stages, including those which are in captivity or are being bred or propagated. Major drivers of biodiversity loss. First is the population, second, climate change, third, changes in land and sea use, fourth, overexploitation, and invasive alien species. What acts are prohibited under the law? Trading of wildlife, collecting, hunting, or possessing wildlife, their byproducts and derivatives. Gathering or destroying of active nest trees, host plants, and the like. Maltreating and or inflicting other injuries not covered by the preceding paragraph. Transporting of wildlife. What fines and penalties await to violators? For actions like killing and destroying against species listed as critical, imprisonment of a 6 years and 1 day to 12 years and or a fine of 100,000 to 1 million pesos. For trading wildlife species listed as endangered, imprisonment of 1 year and 1 day to 2 years and or a fine of 2,000 to 200,000 pesos.